net.com, the order book, edge.com, and of course hftcode.com. Just trying to see if I'm still live right now. I think I am. Okay, let's see. Anyways, we're going to talk about something different I haven't talked about in a while, or ever actually. Just so everybody knows, I've been testing trading bots now in Python. I'm posting results on Substack at the orderbookedge.com. So I am hoping that this stream is working. Yeah, I'm just testing the stream to see if it's up there. Oh, there I am. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to cover here over the first couple of minutes. Welcome. Okay, so what started this? Again, with AI. AI I use now, as I said last week, I use logs, generated logs from the trading bots, and they create market data. They also create, just depends upon the strategy rules that are in the trading strategy bot. And basically, the more details you have, the more results you can work with. So as I said, they're posted all over in the notes and my most recent posts at theorderedge.com. Some of them are paid, just so you know. Okay, so what are the topics we're dealing with here? So this is a very important element to know when it comes to algo trading. Building a trading system is fine, but in order to optimize it and tweak it with real market data, in my case, Rhythmic for futures and options with CME only for now, you can quickly learn spreads, volatility, where things go wrong, where things trend, are you being influenced by market makers, da da da. And it depends upon each session you run, and it depends also on each period that you run as well. So during the day, I did really good yesterday, 6+ % on a strategy with wheat yesterday, and that was during the market open. So my theory is the best time to trade, where I'm not sure if I can confirm to say this, but it seems that the best trader in the mornings when Chicago, New York opens up in the States at 9:30. Okay, so that's very important. And again, I'm using trading logs that can help find order routing bugs, architectural problem, bottlenecks, and that's part of the design. Thank you, Mr. CNN. Welcome. All right, so you'll find that the backtesting might not be enough. You have to run everything in simulation against real market data. So typically what you kind of can focus on with that is a standard portfolio metrics, them being drawdown, Sharpe. We could also include win ratio as well. Those are helpful. Those are probably your top metrics you need to understand when you're running any strategy. So when it comes to looking for post-mortem sort of things, analysis on a session, what you're going to look for is the order book plumbing to see how the order book was handled by your, in my case, a gateway server into Rhythmic. Also, it will let you know about slippage, yield, spread, cost, as well, if there's any sockets or communication that's being dropped, or more importantly, if your data goes stale or may go into a flat position. I've been dealing with that all today. The other thing to go over is your drawdown control. Most of the time, I'm going to have losses if you look at those logs, but that's okay. They're all virtual. So what we're looking for, if I put up 15 trading bots a day, maybe one might be profitable, and it might be consistently profitable. I got 4 right now. One's doing really well, but that might be only specific for the market conditions. So in this case, yesterday, what it was wheat. There was an event in the Black Sea, and it traded really well. So also today, and again, I can't confirm it, but Bitcoin's on the move. These two strategies are comparing Bitcoin against ETF flow. So if there's inflow into the one of the Bitcoin ETFs, one of the big ones, like from BlackRock. That's a really strong buy signal. Okay. Also, with the news that's driven, what you can happen is the news will drive certain events, which can generate various trading frequency, data frequency. If there's a lot of volatility going around that trading opportunity, if you're trading on CPI or some FOMC or Federal Reserve news event. So, yeah, so that's basically it. Thank you for the like. And yeah, so basically, when I say what is a post-mortem, I'm just reading it right off my website here. So it's a structured, data-driven post-trade autopsy. I think all traders need to do this. What I'm finding with the crazy volatility is each day there's going to be different market conditions. Like today, when bonds were selling off last night with the yen and causing all kinds of calamity, the market's tanked. Okay, so if you had a universal strategy, it ain't going to trade. So there's so much volatility in all these different types of volatility events. Like we've got the Japanese yen lately. We've got Iran going on, which affects oil, then that impacts gold and so on and so forth. And Bitcoin, it gets affected. And then all the equity markets get affected. So it's all different events. One of my posts that went up on the order book Edge last night was Joy Bonds. Yeah, they're fun. Hey, man, how are you? Full circle perpetuals. Yeah, so the bond market just went crazy, and I'm telling people this is dangerous times right now. We're on the edge. Yes, it's joy, joy, oh joy. So one of the things that's really important that people need to understand is when you're using automated trading and backtesting them, a lot of times they can be over optimized with curve fitting. There can be a lot of unrealistic slippage and commission. What I find, if I was to show you the volumes, that volume matters, because if you're trading a smaller, lower volume instrument, you're going to get slippage. And obviously that's going to go against your open positions when you take on trades. Yeah, so that's why you want to do a post-mortem. And you also have to, as I said, do it against the data communication in your architecture of between your trading bots or bot, your gateway server into your broker. In my case, as I said, interactive brokers. Okay, so and this helps you not get failures and genuine alpha decay. All right, so we're done with that. If you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Yeah, the Japanese yen, as I said last week, is a big deal. The carry trade is over. I think that the U.S. might not be able to control this situation with the yen because the Bank of Japan has to sell off the treasuries that they hold, which affects the U.S. government, the U.S. economy, namely when it comes to mortgages, and they'll just skyrocket. I haven't read the news today. Last week it was 75% Fed cut. I'm sure it's gone down now because of this situation. The president probably wants them to keep the rates low, but that can't be done all that much. So first, Full Circle Perpetual says this market is going to completely sell off. I agree. This is like where the excess is too much now. There's too much bad, just mumbo jumbo in the markets where they spent too much money. And I was reading in one article, it said these are the bond vigilantes. And when the bond vigilantes start to kick in, which they are, anytime when you have yields going over 4%, as of this morning, it was that's dangerous. So that same interest now is at, or yield is at 5.4. So if it gets to 6, chances are it may break. And I just read, I don't know if this is true, but there's some big kerfuffle going on in Iran as well. So that's going to affect oil. So oil goes up, and so forth, so on and so forth. So from an economic standpoint, it has been confirmed that the UK is now putting out to governments or to their people that there will be food shortages. A lot of the farmers there are having a bad harvest. So, what's the new goal moving in the next couple of months? Probably up until the end of the year. Food production. I'm seeing a lot of volume going to corn, wheat. Wheat was a good one yesterday. Soybean and sugar. So those seem to be the big movers over the next few months. So gold might not be as big as you think. It might not be as predictable as what happened last December when everything went crazy. The CME apparently, because they own Comex, were manipulating all of the gold storage in Comex warehouses. Yeah, so there's that. If you guys got comments or questions, let me know. Right now, in terms of a few things, somebody sent me for futures. This is a big deal now with CME. There's micros. Now they just brought out nano contracts. So they're much smaller and they're for smaller accounts. So you now can trade nano accounts, which is smaller than micro, and that will boost volume. And the CME would do it for extra commission because there's going to be a ton of people getting into it. And the same thing with options as well as well. So it's going to get easier, and you can have smaller accounts now with the CME. I don't know the details yet, so there's that. Yes, there is. I don't know if they're tokenized, but I did get a message from EdgeClear a number of weeks ago that you can trade 53 of the biggest stocks through. I'm not sure where it's through, but through EdgeClear. Right now, I don't see the point of it because a lot of stocks are getting killed. But it can be a nice addition to the trading pool. Right now, I think, yeah, the food production is definitely going to be the more predictable mover if you're long momentum for the short term. So that's probably what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to change around my bot selection and focus a lot on food contracts. In December, the new is going to trade from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Yeah, overnight. And I hope they change the margin requirement. That's for the NQ. That's great because the higher the volume, I'm finding is definitely in I'd say Nasdaq's right up there as one of the top highest volume. Also, I'm finding the same with of all of them Treasury 10-year, and there's some pretty good overnight volume in oil, gold, Bitcoin. As I said, moving. It seems I haven't checked the chart for that. So there's some good opportunities out there. It might not be so bad as we think. And as I said, soybean, corn, wheat, we're in the top page on bar chart for most active, which is a sign right there. And I wouldn't be surprised you can expect to see the Austrian dollar as well. Obviously, yen and the euro. Euro's getting killed as well. I mean, I saw some volume there for the euro. So if you're into shorting, there's going to be lots of opportunity. As I said, when things get really crazy, I think VIX will start to move. It's still fairly calm, which is quite interesting, I'm finding. So there's that. So if you guys got questions, let me know. We can talk tech if you want, languages. A couple of things about AI now. I think we talked about Kimi K4 last week. It's going to be a monster of a LLM. It's going to be much, much bigger than any of the LLMs out there, including Claude and OpenAI. It's supposed to be a beast. Qwen 3.8, there's so many new modified versions out there, which is good because it's open source. Somebody told me they're here if they want to add a comment. That's up to them. But you can now run Qwen 3.8 on your phone. So you ask yourself, what are the data warehouses for? The data warehouse is not what we think it is. It's not for AI. It's for other things to do with the government and what we do. That's why they're building them out there, and that's why you have so many flock cameras everywhere. That's just part of the part of the grid system, we'll call it. So if you got comments or questions, let me know. Yeah, so trying to think here in the AI world. There's really like there's new GLM 5.3 came out. That's supposed to be quite capable as a coding AI. And what I'm finding is that's going to be probably the cheapest of them all. So I'm waiting to get my hands on that. But so far, I've been using for the last 2 weeks nothing but Quen. It's very, very capable. And yeah, 1984 is here for sure. It's living it out. So Quen is quite good, very capable. There's lots of modified versions out there. As I said, you can run on a phone. I think the Chinese AI is starting to really get attention. I've been reading that Microsoft has added Kimi K3 as part of their core option. Apple and Chinese iPhones in China are going to get a Chinese AI. I don't know which one. So there's going to be more and more Chinese AI as long as corporate America allows it, which I doubt. But Microsoft's kind of feeling it out, I guess. I haven't touched any Anthropic, Claude for a while. I've not touched open AI models for a while. I just stick to the Chinese because they're much, much cheaper and they're much, much capable. I think they're neck and neck pretty well. So that's that. Okay, so if you got questions or comments, let me know. Appreciate all the likes. So the one thing I will say that I haven't said before, if you go over to my website of the order book edge.com, I purposely did this as a note. So this is free access. If you go on to today's notes, you'll see the performance of all the bots in real time, like an hour apart. So I can get an assessment of how the bots are performing. I'm seeing how the AI tells me how the data connections are, the health of those. So there's that. So I started experimenting with AI. What a time to be alive. Yeah, yeah, for sure. How is the bot fine running with LLMs going? Well, as I said, I've been working with Quen 3.8. I've done a couple of runs now. I did a run yesterday morning. It was quite successful, and that was for the market open. To answer your question, Hari Divi, I believe Hari Divi. No, there's different bots depending upon market conditions. So yesterday we had a 6.6% return on one, and this is all virtual again. 6% return on that wheat black sea bought. That one did 6% in the morning. And if I can get everything running and the market opens when the U.S. markets open, that seems to be the best time to trade. And then everything else flattens out. So I did that one. That was successful. Then I ran one last night. Then we started getting some problems, but I identified two Bitcoin bots that looked okay. And then I did another batch this morning, and only Bitcoin was performing because everything was down. I'm trying to set up tonight as well and do the same thing tomorrow. So what I'm doing is with all these post-mortem analysis and now and pretty close to real time if I want, I'm able to run these and then get them loaded up in my dashboard and then just immediately start trading because the gateway, the Rhythmic gateway server, they connected to that and then they download real time data. It's all tick data. I'm still trying to determine if there's a competition problem, there's too many bots running where they all compete and overwhelm the gateway. So I'm developing a script now. So this is instead of agents. I want to talk about agents for a minute. If you have questions, just jump in, okay? If you got a question on whatever you want to know. But what I'm finding is when it comes to agents, this is the new way that the large US and pretty well all the LLMs are going to suck money out of corporations. So as an example, OpenAI has a real-time model. So that means you have a process, may it be Python, JavaScript, whatever, consistently connecting into OpenAI real time. So it's going to do its polling and it's going to run AI prompting to get back responses back from the AI, right? So that's going to run 24 hours pretty well. That's going to be very, very, very expensive. Okay, so I don't know different types of applications, but that's going to be the typical scenario for when it comes to the term agents, because that's what they're doing. So I'm just a small time person with some budget, a couple $100 a month, not thousands upon thousands per month. So my approach is this: when you have your trading bots, they're running, okay, and as part of the everything's again in Python, and it's easier to work with. What you have is you have a trading bot that watches all the first thing they do before the market opens. You can put out a query in AI, and then it will ask, what are your best performing bots based upon news? Now, if you see my news with a positioning specifically, the AI can come back, say, these particular bots that get created are going to be your best performers. And you only focus on those bots, and those are the only bots that get opened. Okay. So my case, as an example, I can have with the first generation of bots get created, and then the second generation of bots that get created, that can total up to around 18 to 23 bots. That will easily overwhelm this trading gateway thing to Rhythmic. So in order for me to reduce the waste of all that utilization, I've got a script now that'll just ask for the top 5 instead of 16, 23 trading bots to run, if that makes sense. Now, when I say generation 2 for anybody new, as I said, I have the capability to generate trading bots in Python based upon news with all the trading rules that are self-contained that connect into this Python gateway server connecting into Rhythmic. From there, it'll have its own set of rules, which becomes the strategy and works like a trading bot, which it is. And it works. So that will be the first generation of bots. But then it has another process that will generate a set of new bots by applying the 400 trading rules, institutional level trading rules, to improve the performance and projection of the trading bot. And it puts it into the institutional level with a blend of option trading as well. And it just radically changes the bot and enhances it. So because of that, there's a combination Gen 1, Gen 2, and there's 400 trading rules that come from that. That comes from my advanced options and futures course. So there's going to be 2 generations of bots generated for each run. And then I have a new script. I'll just say only run these top 5 based upon the news and based upon my market preview analysis. So those set of bots will get focused on and get run. So every half hour, I can go out and query the logs, checking for performance, the health of the trading bots, and so on and so forth. And then be able to either turn off the bots or maybe able, that's the first thing, is to turn off and disable the bots. Or any bots that show trading where they're losing radically, to close down those bots so they don't take on crazy losses. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be implementing. On top of that, I'm going to have within this, it's like a dashboard and it's a server to the dashboard. So that server will then have all this logic built in on top of, as the bots are running, it can go out and capture another set of trading bots if need be, because the market conditions change. So I could do that as well. And then turn on and off bots. On top of that, the ideal is to use some kind of RAG application to be able to, because what happens is when you do the analysis on these trading bots as they perform, it will tell you what and how you can make it more lucrative. So if that was the case, then you can have those suggestions and feed it back into an AI, RAG style or whatever, and then be able to have it create a new trading bot. So you trade out the or close down the original bot, and then you automate and activate the new, modified and improved trading bot for all the for all of the activity and trading that you have, and you only focus obviously on the profitable trading bots. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. Now, this is not using agents because, as I said, agents are very expensive. What happens is you can build the Python code using AI to have it go through these steps with all these modifications, changing everything in real time, shutting down certain bots. So you can build that into the code itself and not relying on just generic AI via agent technology, if you want to call it that. So Hardivi asks, how does it react when market is volatile? That's the thing. Certain, like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday was not a good trading day either, but there was one instrument that was doing well, and that was wheat. So for that, and the other one that makes me think this way, when the market's open, there was a specific oil CL trade that was profitable. But as the market turned against oil, where it started taking on losses, the ideal situation is to put some kind of metric in there. If it does happen where it's starting to take on losses, you want to shut down that bot and retain, hopefully, profit for that particular instrument, oil. Whereas the wheat traded 8 trades, 7 of them were very profitable, and 1 was a loser. So if I kept running that bot, that could have stayed profitable. So if that was the case, you can keep it running, but once it starts to take on 1 or 2 more losses, you shut down the trading bot. So there's a number of factors here, but here's a simpler approach, okay? This is the secret sauce now I'm going to give. If you have questions, let me know, okay? If you have questions, just type them up. But here's the thing. If you want to be very successful at trading and consistently profit, what you do, this is where you got to know your portfolio management, okay? Your portfolio management is the first thing you do as a trader, algo trader, anything. You got to build out a plan. You have X amount of dollars you put into an account, okay, with a broker. Then the next thing you have to ask is, what is your goal on daily targets of profit? So you put $10,000 in, you want to make $100 each day. Okay, well, your trading goal will be 1% moves against that portfolio. So ideally, what you want to do is you go out and you trade every day, and you have a very simple goal. Once you achieve 1% return against that current portfolio, just shut down all the trades. Unless you have a trading bot that's running profit, you let that run, obviously. So that's the goal. If you want to be successful at trading, you have a mechanism against your whole trading account, in your broker for your portfolio. If you set a realistic goal, 1% might be aggressive, and you go online and say, statistically, that's not possible. Well, if you're doing what I'm doing, pumping out a factory of trading bots, and you know which ones are profitable as they run, and once you hit that 1% target, just shut everything down for the day, and then go at it again next day, and repeat and rinse and repeat every day, and just achieve that 1%. If that's too aggressive, then you can reduce it to 0.5%. So to be able to get 0.5% should be very achievable if you know how to do that. So we have Nuvi. Welcome, Nuvi. So markets will always change. Any decent algo will have self-adjustment built in. Yes and no. If you go into my Substack at the orderbookedge.com, you'll see that that's not the case consistently. That's theoretically correct, but in practice, it's not the case because you're going to have different reasons why the markets change. So when you have certain bought bids versus asks, that means you have a nice positive move, obviously. So that's one metric, but then they can come in just rapidly and start taking losses. So it's like a big mystery to me how you can get around that. So in my case with the scripting on the prompting, I ask in a way where it will tell me on how to prove the trading bot itself. And all it is just changing the math, changing the parameters on certain algorithms, changing the indicators on those and those target levels. And you can do that on the fly. Okay, so that's the self-adjusting, we call it. So that you can do. I don't know what more to say on that. So her Divi asks, I use Thinkorswim. Does it work on TOS or do we need IBKR? It can work on anything you want. The method. Coding, I stick to Python because it's the easiest language and most smart brokers will have Python support. So Thinkorswim is its own proprietary language. So as it stands with what I got, it won't work. But AI can kind of convert everything to whatever programming language you want. I wouldn't recommend that, but I'll just stay native to Python. Now, in terms of interactive brokers, we've talked about, last few months about interactive brokers. As I said, there's a problem with interactive brokers with a lot of stale data. That data can get frozen. So that can kind of throw you off where it depends upon what you're trying to trade. If you're trying to trade stocks, yeah, you have to stick with, in your case, Thinkorswim or interactive brokers. So if that's the case, then you have to work with Python and work obviously with stocks. Interactive brokers is fantastic for that. So in my case, which I'm futures and options, futures on options, nothing to do with single stock. So I'm trading like maybe a market index like NQ or ES, S&P 500. As a future, the better broker to be on is through a real futures broker that supports Rhythmic. And that's what I use because the data is cleaner. And as I said earlier, with this new nano contract coming out from the CME, it makes it a lot easier to work with and get access to the futures market because the contract size gets smaller. And so people with small accounts can get into futures and options trading. Do we need a good market data provider for the bots? Absolutely. Because everything I do is real-time data. I'm not using historical data. I don't do the back testing. If I kind of repeat what I said in the last couple of weeks, but back testing's fine. But what I'm doing is I'm using real-world market data and simulated live market data. That's why I'm saying if you go to that website to see how those bots are responding in some of those posts, the notes that I posted, that's raw right out of the AI results, okay? And when you see that kind of information and seeing how you can improve those trading bots on the fly and then go back and say in the Python, okay, knowing this, here's the code for Python. Come back and create me a new updated bot with the improvements. So that can happen. Hard Divi, no, Rhythmic's not a broker. The best way to say it's an infrastructure that future brokers will use. So a futures broker, you usually only have two data providers, and you can actually execute orders through Rhythmic as well. But this is what the institutions use. There's nothing like interactive brokers, which is retail. So with Rhythmic, you can get real-time market data for $40, and then you pay for your API access $100 a month. Okay, so it's not a broker. You have to have what they call an introducing broker, like in my case, EdgeClear, AMP Futures, and a bunch of other ones that support Rhythmic. If you get Rhythmic, support, go with it, because the other option is usually CQG, which is very expensive. So Rhythmic's very good. I think anybody that goes on Rhythmic won't come back. And now with the nano contracts and stuff, it's going to get higher volume, more people, and it's more accessible for smaller accounts. So Nuvi asked, did you check out any of the VPS providers we talked about? No, not yet. I'm really not. I'm really hesitant to go with VPSs because of hacking potential. You're dealing with your trading account on a remote server. I think if you get a good enough piece of hardware, PC, you should be able to run everything local in your own home. One thing I should mention as well before I forget. So the VPS is an option. It depends upon your lifestyle, I guess. So it's good. I haven't checked any of them out. I'm going to be able to sit here and say, usually they're all the same. I've tested DigitalOcean. I've done a number of VPSs. To me, they're all the same. It's just price and technology. But what I want to pay for and access is customer service. Because if I'm going to have bad customer service, and remember, I have live trading accounts, meaning money's on the table. If I have bad service, I probably could lose money. So those are certain things you have to consider. So no, I haven't tried those providers. One thing I will say, as I've said before, with AI, I'm kind of getting warm to running it locally. But my case, I don't think I'll be on the go all the time at some point. So I don't want to build up a hardware rig that I'm not going to use, because if I'm on the road all the time, it's not going to be available. So my only option is to do it through cloud, which I'm already using for AI. So when it comes to what you're mentioning here for VPS or virtual private servers, I will be at that point where I'll need to get everything pushed onto a VPS for sure. So I'm not there yet. Probably in 6 months I'll be doing it. Right now, what's important to me now is I want to stay on Python, and what I'm really focused on right now is to find profitable trading strategies in Python. That's what I care about. And I'm working on 4 already on my list, and more to come. But the problem is when I put something on a list, it may be just because of some market condition, a very, very specific market condition. As I said, if I have wheat, something happens in Black Sea, the price of wheat goes up because of that. That won't happen every day. So there's that. If you got questions or comments, let me know. One important thing I want to mention here. When I experimented with C++ with AI, and I sat here and said, oh, don't do it. You're going to spend money dealing with code getting rewritten and blah, 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 blah. I just by chance, I got a response in AI saying that I need to have some kind of GitHub repository, so that all the code, like with version control, and have the code sitting there in a repository. So when changes are made, the AI knows what version to pull out. If there's a screw up, because the AI rewrote over it. So for me, with the code now, I'm getting very sensitive on the code because they're very valuable to me. So I'm very hesitant to post my code on a private GitHub repository, private. So what I'm looking for is a local GitHub or alternative GitHub where all my code sits on a local computer. Doesn't go out online somewhere. So I'm looking for that. I've got some options. Some are open source. GitLab has an option. If I want to pay the enterprise for a GitHub, I could do it, but it'll be very expensive. Just wanted to throw that out there. Hardy Ninja, can you explain a bit on the bot and how to get and install, etc.? Simple overview on requirements. Okay, I don't know if you're a programmer. You're mentioning Ninja Traders, so that's C#. I focus on Python and C++. Python right now, primarily is the only language I use. So everything I do is Python. In terms of the bot, each bot has its own rules, all in Python. Some are advanced, some are, as I mentioned, generation 2, highly advanced. And they're self-contained, which means they connect into this Rhythmic trading gateway server. So the trading gateway server, it's like a parent, what do they call it? Slate, what do they call it? Master to slave. I know that's bad terminology, but that's the old terminology they use. They have a primary and the connection into the gateway. So the Rhythmic gateway server can handle multiple client trading bots, and then all those get collected in parallel. They'll be able to send out communication to Rhythmic and send back information back to the trading server and then back to the trading bot. So that's how I do that. So it's many to one with the trading server, the gateway trading server for Rhythmic, and then the trading server has a one-to-one relationship back to the Rhythmic servers via the API, if that makes sense. So where do you start? As I said before, if you want to get examples of working code in Python with multiple different strategies and instruments, I've got ones for various stocks, forex, crypto. So at the bottom of this stream, you can see where to get it. The hftcode.com. There's 3 different products. You can just click one of those and it'll fully explain what it does. That can be used as your client code. And then there's the other end that would handle for interactive brokers. All of that equivalent of a server will communicate with the trading bots. And then the trading server, via all AI, all documented, you can then have that trading bot connect into Trader Workstation. And you can do it, obviously, starting out in paper trading mode. And then from there, you can put up your classic trading bots, if that makes sense. Everything, again, is 100% in Python. I did the experiment with C++, very expensive. Right now, it's not worth the money. But so I keep it in Python. And it's simpler, too. We're not doing high-frequency trading here. I think with a C++, it's hard for me to say if it's high-frequency trading or not. But I'll just say it's high-frequency trading like. If you guys got further questions, let me know. I'm here to serve the cheers. Oh, is it monthly or one-time payment for the bot? There is no bot. There's multiple bots, multiple trading bots. What if you're starting out with what I'm doing, you want to focus on having a trading server. And then, as I said, if you get the hftcode.com stuff, again at the bottom of the stream, you'll see how it works because it's all fully explained in there. But what I will build out, probably launching in October, I will have a subscription service where I will have multiple trading bots available with code in Python and the trading rules. And then you can connect that into your own trading server for your own broker that might support Python. And as I said, interactive brokers will support monthly. Interactive brokers will support Python. But will this be monthly? Yes, this will be a monthly subscription. So as I said, I was hoping to do C++ as well. I could still technically do it. It's hard to say. I think it could be achievable, but every time I try it, I'm wasting so much money on it. Nuvi, have I explored using fixed protocol at any point? I have, but that's kind of overkill. You don't need to go fixed. The only time you go fixed is when you go really into high frequency trading. There's really no advantages with fix because it's so complicated as a protocol. I wouldn't recommend it. I've kind of played with it. There's a project out there called Fix8, FIX number 8.org. I don't know where they're at, but there is an open source edition of Fix. and I've had him, the founder, on an old interview when he was starting out. I think it's gone kind of institutional now, but there might be still a open source version of it in C++. There's also Quick Fix as well. I believe that's in Java, and there might be a C++ fork of that as well. So if you want to play with that, you can do that. I do believe, as I said before, if you're going to prompt with the AI with that, always provide the GitHub repository, so the AI will scan it and be able to build you a pretty on point trading solution as it builds out, and you can definitely work with that. But I haven't worked with Fix because you have APIs and now you have RAG and MCP. It's like, I mean, Fix is institutional for sure, but from a retail perspective, you just need to work with a broker and whatever they support. As I said, I'm just working with Python, right? So it's pretty easy, and it works great. Quen's very good working with both JavaScript, I'm sure TypeScript as well, and Python. It's very good at it, and it's pretty good with C++. So there's that. If you have further questions, let me know. Yeah, lots of questions. They're good questions like last week. Yeah, so there's going to be this subscription service come October, and currently with the new website, I'm loading up a lot of content on that pretty well 2-3 times a day. Hard div, can I work standalone without Claude AI need? No. Well, it can work with whatever AI tool you want. I use Claude Code because that's the most popular, but you could use C Klein and have it plug into any provider like Hugging Face or Open Router. Yeah, so you can connect into the popular ones with any models that those providers have. So yeah, you could do that. You're just going to use a different tool, but if you're starting out, Claude Code's fine. I mean, if you just stick to the Haiku 4.5, it's fairly affordable. It's fine, but any AI will work really. But you're just getting the code base, and the PDFs are really designed for Claude. But those same prompts can be used pretty well anywhere else. Like I said, with the new Qwen 3.8, which is much cheaper, those prompts will definitely work with Qwen. Anything really. You're just looking at the cost of your AI LLM that you want to use and the quality of code. Right now, the one I'd recommend is Qwen 3.8. And it's hard to say with the GLM 5.3 that is coming out. That might not be as capable, but I believe it should be a lot cheaper. From what I saw, let's say 2 months ago, I did right across the board the comparison of all the latest Chinese and US models or LLMs. The cheapest was GLM. So I might switch over to GLM once I can get my hands on the 5.3. But so far, Kimi K3 was working great, but more capable and cheaper is the Qwen 3.8. So as I said, you can work with any LLM you want. So if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. I'm here to answer whatever you have. But it's sort of exciting where we're at. The models, they're saying that the models, all the AI will definitely come down in price because of the competition everywhere. Meta's in and on it now. They're getting popular. Thinking Machine's not taking any, but apparently there's a new, is it Nemotron from NVIDIA 4.0? That's getting some attention now too, apparently. If Microsoft makes their models available through like Open Router, that would be another potential competitor. I just find them very expensive. Hardeev asks, can you explain a bit on how it works with IBKR Trading Bot Hub plus AI? What do I need to move? I'm not sure what you mean to move. As I said, like in the product description, hftcode.com, it fully explains everything what you get in the description. Everything's listed there, what you get. What you do with it's up to you. But there are PDFs that will help you guide you through what you need to do. The key to anything AI is a couple of things. You have to know how to prompt. You have to know how to give it proper data to work with or a repository like on GitHub, which helps. If you have real market generated data like a PDF or a CSV, that helps and that makes your AI output much, much more accurate. I use TOS. I wanted to know what I have to do. I don't know. As I said, I can't help you with Thinkorswim. It's Python only. So if you're wanting to jump over with Python into interactive brokers, that's your choice. But I don't help people on Thinkorswim or Ninja. That's not what I do. Or TradingView. I only focus on one for my production trading, live trading, and I can kind of help on interactive brokers. But my choice is at Rhythmic, as I said. Nuvi asks, it thinks we'll all find it easier when trading specific models are made available. Yeah, there are going to be certain LLMs that will be good for certain uses. There's going to be the new Gemini 4. What will that entail from a coding perspective? How much will it cost? Because I can tell you, I've been playing around with the Gemini 3.7, and it's very capable and it's fairly cheap. But on the coding, I don't know. But I think the reason why they had to delay Gemini 4 because they want to make sure that they come out with like a positive splash. And when you have these Chinese AI coming out with like really really advanced and ranking right up there with Claude 5 Fable, that's the standard. And Gemini 4 has got to be right up there to be able to compete against that. Otherwise, they'll end up like with Meta and the Llama models. They just drop off because they can't compete. But then that puts Gemini in a very precarious situation as a company. So yeah, but right now my focus is on Chinese models because they're cheap. I have no interest in OpenAI right now. I have no interest in Claude. They're just too expensive, and to be honest, I think people need to understand that those providers, they had every new version that came out was revolutionary, and beyond. I think there's going to be an OpenAI 6 coming out. I don't know what revolutionary things that will have, but from what I feel, OpenAI and Anthropic, Claude are just going to focus on enterprise. They're not going to be priced to ma and pa schmucks, average Joes. I just don't think that's going to be their focus anymore. Whereas they'll just say, okay, you use the ma and pa people, the average Joe people will use the Chinese models, or maybe something Meta. But Meta at some point will catch up and get very expensive to use, just like OpenAI and Anthropic. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. This is good. Yeah, I mean, like with the trading, I've already explained a lot, but the new individual stocks is a big deal. And also with the new nano contract, that's huge. So I just like being on CME. Like I'm going to have to eventually bring in ICE because there's opportunities now with Brent, and DXY dollar. So there's going to be some opportunities there to trade because I think the economy is going to it's gonna tank hard from what I'm seeing with this yen carry trade stuff and the U.S. trying to intervene. I think that's going to be a calamity, and then there's a lot of other things at the same time too. So it's not helping. And as I said as well, if we get into a point where food production goes up and these food shortages, it's good for traders for sure, but from an economic standpoint, it's not good. And just from an economic standpoint as well, I've been asking around how the job market is for people, and they say not good. So it's very difficult if you're looking. But on the other hand, if you're into AI, it's a golden opportunity right now. People are building stuff and making hundreds of thousands of dollars with AI right now. So the opportunity is there if you change your mind shift from job to entrepreneur and putting out online applications. So, anybody else got any questions or comments? It's all good. So in yeah, 3 weeks, I'll be off to Europe for 1 month. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do a live stream during September, but for sure I'll be back in action come second week of October. You guys got further comments or questions? Yeah. So for you, Herod V. I'm sorry, Herod Hari Divi. Yeah. So as I said, for you, everything's described in the hftcode.com, and it provides a list of what's available. If you're comfortable trying it out, try it out. And then, as I said, I'm posting a lot of stuff now on the other website, the orderbookedge.com. So just so people know, on that website, the orderbookedge.com, I can post and I am posting coding samples of algorithms that the trading bots use, and I also ask it for improvement, and it will provide coding samples, algos from within those posts. So it's very useful because and when you get the more hardy, is the bot working for multi-broker? No, the one stuff I'm talking about that I use and I trade with is specific for Rhythmic, okay, futures and options. The stuff on hftco.com, the two little packages you call them, those are for interactive brokers. If you're capable, you can ask it to change whatever broker you want. If you're capable, if you're understanding and good at Python coding, know how to prompt it, you can use any broker you want as long as it supports Python. And in fact, you could convert it to other languages, but I don't see the point of it. I really don't, because you want to stay in Python. Once you start converting into other languages, it's not as good conversion. And I've experimented a lot with TradingView. It's not that great, and nor would I want to be on any of those platforms anyways. So unfortunately, no, it's not multi-broker. It's for interactive brokers. I don't play the multi-broker game, unfortunately. I focus on interactive brokers, sorta, because it's the most popular retail broker in the world, and it supports mostly in a lot of countries globally. But the real one that I focus on that works great is Rhythmic. Okay, any other questions or comments? Let me know. Taking my little drinky poo drink here. So I'm still trying to figure out all this wild conspiracy theory stuff about these Chinese AI models. Do they put backdoors in the code? From what I see, okay, coming back to Hardy V, as I said, the cost is you got to get an account with your futures broker. Now, I don't know what they'll suggest as a minimum to fund an account in futures and options, maybe 2,000. Might be lower now with the nano contracts. So you have to get a decent, valid futures broker. And you can do it from anywhere in the world. There, you got to make sure they provide you Rhythmic data. So, as I said earlier, it's $40 for the market data, US, and $100 for the API access. So it's going to be $140 a month. Okay, so that's probably serious for you, but getting into futures and options has never been cheap. And if you don't want to go market data or API, you're not going to get the best access as well. So Nuvi says multi-brokers will take forever to debug if you build with an AI. Yeah, exactly. Like I've tried to experiment with both interactive brokers and in parallel Rhythmic. What I found was it's just too much of a distraction, and interactive broker is not really worthwhile to be on. It's fine when you're starting out. Don't have a lot to go with. You're new to algo trading. You might be even new to coding. Interactive brokers is fine. If you want to trade, as I said, stocks, stay on interactive brokers. If you're going to do the same thing with ETFs as well, that's where you trade all your equity. But if you want to step it up, futures and options, via the CME, via the ICE, you want to be on a better provider. And I keep pushing Rhythmic. Everybody has their own opinion. I don't think there's a lot of people that don't like Rhythmic. It's old technology. It's been around for many years, and they will not change as far as I can see. But if you ever get wildly successful, that'll be the next path to be on, to do real, true, high-frequency trading. And that's the most logical step. And the only reason I like futures and options is because when the markets tank, like yesterday, I could trade wheat, and I was making good cash with it, again, virtually. Same with today. Bitcoin was performing, but because I'm on a exchange, like a regulated exchange, dare me say, I'm protected, not like some schlocky crypto exchange. The volume's there as well, for namely Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you want to trade crypto, you can do that as well. I mean, you could still do XRP and Solana, and I believe a few others, but they just don't have the volume. So the support's there for everything. And then you could also trade VIX. Like if the market's really, 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 really tank, yeah, you want to be trading VIX. You don't want to trade a VIX ETF. You trade VIX with options, you could do very, very well. If you also trade, what's the other one I was thinking? As I said, the softs, the food production, corn, soybean, and wheat, which I think will be the new gold. You want to trade there too for futures and options, because the values of those are going up now for food production, and it's been confirmed, as I said, that shortages are going to come, and for those that want to reap the benefit of inflation and profit from it, that can help you circumvent future costs on your food production, because you can profit on the other end. So that's how I look at it. Same with gas and oil. You can profit on those as the price goes up, so I can help circumvent those extra future costs that you pay out of pocket to heat your house or fill your car with gas. So it's a smart way to do it. To fight inflation is to trade it, and the products that are going up, and profit from it. You can neutralize your losses on the purchases and profit on the other side when those go up through the futures and options market. So that's how I look at it. I mean, you can't do that with futures, with stock and ETF. And the other thing I said last week was the forward looking data as well. That's really important. You have so much stuff there to work with, whereas stock and ETF, you only have guidance and what the market analysts are telling you. That's all you have for future forward-looking data. So, who's got further questions or comments? We're up and down as usual. You guys got questions or comments? Let me know. I'll be back next week. I just don't know the topic yet. I find the topic as I'm going through things. I might make it more trading related. I don't know. It might be more trading related on what's trading and where the opportunities are. I've already stated a few. And I think from what I'm seeing, that may pan out. Definitely stock is kind of drying up. But there's other stocks that may replace those ones. Does IBKR data work for the bot? Yes. If you read those descriptions at hftco.com, you'll see it. It specifically says interactive brokers, and as is the code that you get is for only interactive brokers. Simple as that. Anybody else got any questions? Anybody else got any questions? Let me know. Oh, one thing just about YouTube itself. I've been watching the views on all my social media. The social media don't like screen demos, so you'll be stuck with me because that's where the responses come in. There just seems to be an engagement thing, a trust thing. I don't know. So I don't know if I'll be doing any more demos. I saw that hurt. Thank you. So yeah, I think that's what I'll be sticking with. Is just me. The thing is, I did some test streams on Substack, so there's opportunity there where I could go and do private videos, private streams for paying members on Substack. So that will work fine. I'm finding Substack does a lot. I'm still thinking, what am I going to do with Wix? Because I'm going to have a big build come November. And I'm not sure if I'm going to continue paying for Wix because it doesn't perform as well. I'm finding my profit centers on Shopify, the platform. So yeah, that's why I'm moving everything into hftcode.com, just so if you wanted to know. But I'm not sure yet if I'll continue with Wix, which that's my quantlabsnet.com website. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But I do like what I'm seeing with Substack, and I'm definitely liking Shopify because I'm making money there. Okay, who's got questions or comments or feedback? One thing, in the meantime, if you got a question or comment, just type away, okay? I had a guy that was highly offended because I use AI generated content for all my posts. He was offended and said, "How dare I? Do I have no shame?" I'm running a survey right now, both on the community post here on YouTube and on Substack, to see if you hate AI generated code, okay? Or sorry, AI generated content like text. And if you don't care, let me know. But I'm looking for the no's. Now, if I was to go back to typing this up manually, I can assure you it'd be a lot more expensive and you will not get the amount of content I'm spitting out because of AI. And from what I understand, and just keep typing away, but from what I understand, Substack, 10% of the publications of Substack are heavily into AI. And it's now becoming more like 21%. So that number of AI content is going to go up and up and up. Right now on the internet, over 50% of stuff is AI generated on the internet. So a lot of it's garbage because it's AI slop. But if I'm posting stuff, because there's ideas there and I just got an AI to prompt it and to spit out a bang on article. Hardy's asking about RTrader Pro, just saw. Okay, that software is what you get and you need to work with Rhythmic. So think of RTrader Pro as equivalent to Trader Workstation, TWS from Interactive Brokers. So that's their software to connect into the broker. So RTrader Pro is the same. And the same rules apply. You can only allow one connection into that software platform. Therefore, that's why I have that, what I talked about, that gateway server, and that's that one-to-one relationship. And the gateway server is where you have multiple trading bots connected to the trading gateway server, and all of that data gets sent directly to RTrader Pro. If that makes no different than TWS from Interactive Brokers. Good eye though, good eye, Hardy. But that's the difference. The software is old looking, but it's not meant to be a flash and bang software platform. Okay, if you want a software platform, go with Ninja, go with TOS. That's not what these are for. These are raw, coded up, true algo trading bots, but in this case it's Python. So that's why that's how it is. Whereas if you use TradingView, you're using PineScript, a proprietary language. I have nothing against TradingView. I think TradingView is excellent. I just don't want to be stuck on two things: PineScript, which is a proprietary language, and the other thing is their rules are pretty crazy. When you try to publish stuff on TradingView, they're very strict. And to get the data, if they know you're doing something funky, you get big invoices that you're expected to pay. So Nuvi says AI is 20% if the equation, 80% is still about finding a good strategy for AI to build. Right, and that's what I'm doing now. As I said, over the last week, pretty well that's what I'm doing is I'm going through many trading strategies, testing them against live market data to see which ones trade. And as I said, I found one that's been pretty good. Wheat Black Sea news event, we'll call it. But again, that could be a one-time trick one trick pony. So it may not, that opportunity may never come up. Whereas the two Bitcoin that I've listed, they look good because it's tracking ETF flow in that's a classic trade now. Is you measure ETF inflow and outflow, then that's your buy and sell signal. No different than a moving average cost. So Hardeev asks, do we need to pay monthly for RTrader Pro? No, but you will need it for at least market data. So that's $40 a month. The software doesn't cost anything, but that is what you need for the market data. And depending upon what API you use and what language, your code, your program, your app, whatever you want to call it, bot, will need to connect into the RTrader Pro software. I'm thinking to run a bot locally without AI. Is it Yeah, you could build a bot without AI, but that's like driving a car with no wheels now. It doesn't make sense because with the way the markets are, you need to react quickly. And I don't see why you wouldn't want to use AI because it's better, it's faster, it's more optimal, higher quality of code. Doesn't make sense now. Once you get into AI, you ain't going back. And that's what we call Luddites now, And I'm always thinking with people that don't want to implement AI now into their tool set, go back to your cave and play with your rocks because you'll be left behind pretty quickly. As I said, because AI is very quick and very optimal in terms of the code. But I don't see, really have no choice. It's like trying to argue, I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to use a cell phone. Well, 20, 30 years later, look where we're at. You have to be on it. AI really is no different. You can't avoid it. It'll be on your phone. It'll be everywhere. But I don't know your stance on AI. But yeah, it's like privacy. It's like online privacy. You can't avoid it. Like you're gonna cross a border. You need to get out of the privacy mindset because they already have all your information via your passport. Do we need to pay? I've already answered that. Oh, one more from Hardy. Thanks for good info and bit worried to give AI control of trade. You don't have to worry about AI trading. You can use AI to build your trading strategies if you're worried about that. No different than automation. You can, if you want, you can just before you have an order, entry or exit, you can have you can confirm it manually before as a permission to allow it to trade. You could do that, but you'll probably miss out on trading opportunities, especially if you're trading off a bid and ask. So there's that you got to keep in mind. Nuvi, would you agree that local is only useful as latency isn't an issue? You are USA based. No, I don't think it matters because I'm using Chinese AI. So latency really, well, Chinese AI is not a problem. If you embed AI into your code, then that's where you're going to have latency. But if you're using AI to generate code and only code with no AI in it, then you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about latency. Or if you're using an agent, which has to tie back to the mothership called your LLM, then yeah, you do have to worry about your latency. But even if that's the case, well, it depends. It depends on a few things. Prompts I've seen with Quant can take up to half an hour. That's latency. If it takes I don't know, 5 seconds, that could be latency. But with the local, like local, if you have AI local on your machine, no, there won't. There latency. It depends upon the LLM that you're using, right? Because local help, you're using your GPU or have a rig of GPUs. That's fine, but you can still have delays and latency there. It just depends upon your LLM and your kind of prompting as well. Through an API or cloud, yeah, it'll be faster, but it's hard to say. I don't know what level your prompting is. I don't know what your LLM is, but yeah, you can get delays in your response. So, as I said, the best suggestion is to have AI generate your code and only your code, and have no AI prompting in your code. So when you're running bots or whatever, don't have it call AI because then you will have latency for sure. Yeah, with the US, that might help if you're willing to pay the price because it is getting expensive now, and eventually it will all go up. As well, shouldn't say that, but the Chinese right now, the Chinese AI is very cheap, much cheaper. Now the question is, how will Anthropic and OpenAI respond? Because I do think Google and Gemini, they're trying to address that competition, and they can kind of afford to subsidize the AI cost because they have other revenue streams, whereas Anthropic and OpenAI don't. So they can't really afford to lower cost to stay competitive. Hardy says, I usually trade MNQ and very volatile. Does it auto trade? Yeah, 100%. If you build out NQ or MNQ trading bots, for sure. How is it like placing, canceling, take profit orders? Can you shed some light? Yeah, again, that's dependent upon how you prompt. As I said, if you got that HFT coding samples, there are quite a bit of coding samples in there, how to prompt. But if these specific things that you're looking at, you just put that in your prompts. Like you want this, take profit, add in cancel, take, and also whatnot. You can prompt that in your add it to your prompt, I should say, and it will generally code up all of that. And everything is going to be virtual, but you could still use an API for your stop loss or take profit. So you can do that as part of your prompting. That's the thing, is if you're new to prompting and you just ask AI to generically build this for me, build X, you're not going to get a very good response. But if you know exactly what you want, add it to the prompt, and better yet, as I said, also add in your data, your PDFs, your CSVs, whatever files you want, and supply that as an attachment to the AI. Quant can do it. You can actually add in, and I'm using images as well, and tell it to read the image, because you can do that. And more information you give in your prompting, the better results you get. And as I said, now it's capable to generate dynamically trading bots in Python, but at some point as they run, I'll be able to add in other mechanisms in the server in my dashboard to improve those trading models, as I said earlier. So we're at that point, and with Quen, I think it's possible to do at the cost that they want. But as I said, I want to see GLM 5.3 because that might be even cheaper and more capable. And even with Kimi 4 come out, we'll see what happens with that and the cost. Nuvi said, also be specific about the trading platform when prompting. Exactly. Hello again, everyone. Is that Restore Lo-Fi? Hey, how are you, man? You were here last week. I guess you just joined the last hour or so. If you, as I said, this playback will be available once it's rendered within usually an hour once it ends. If you got any questions, Restore Lo-Fi, let me know. We're talking about all kinds of stuff today, all the important stuff after analyzing logs after logs. One thing I'll say about the logs, the longer they are, more detailed they are, you can expect your prompting all to go up in price. So the more data you provide, yes. The longer it takes to read, expect those prompts costs to go up, and quite a bit, I might add. But you'll still be way ahead of Claude. Claude is just outrageously priced now, and OpenAI is not that far behind. Hang on here as I turn on a light. If you got questions or comments, let me know. We have light. Yes. If you have questions or comments, let me know. Lots of good questions today. Good variety. That's why I do these streams, because I'm all about variety. I think variety is important. Don't you think? If you got questions or comments, let me know. If you just join, then you can watch the later stream, earlier parts of the stream once it gets rendered. So as I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to do long form video with the demos anymore. I'm not sure. I could still do it. They're just a pain to put together. So as I said, you'll be stuck with me. Just waiting for more questions, more comments. I'm just trying to think of anything startling that came out of the last week in comments. Nothing major outside of the one guy, the Luddite, doesn't like AI. Anybody else got any questions or comments? Do we end it early? Like last week, we were 2.5 hours. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do this to jack up the prices of what's on that hftco.com. I might keep it low right now, but at some point I may jack it up. Okay, 2 more. Most of the AI platforms don't have memory. Have you had to use something like Obsidian to keep track, add memory so the LM keeps track? Yeah, I've already talked about that earlier tonight. Nuvi mentioned about GitHub repositories like alternatives. I know GitLab has one, but it's limited with the free edition. There's a couple of open source ones as well. So I'm going to investigate those because I think those are critical, especially if you're going to kind of try to use C++ again. Right now I'm just too burnt on the cost of it. So yeah, there are some. I'm not sure how it would work with Obsidian. That's an interesting option, but I definitely want to see what local equivalent GitHub extensions there are, and then just run some kind of server against it locally to maintain all the code. So Harry the VS is bought a dynamic strategy or some other thing. It can be dynamic, but again, what you're getting with the HFT code is just static. Okay, it's just a static bot. There's no dynamic. You can make trading bots dynamic by just having it get prompted and then just prompt what you want. And then if that's not enough, then you can add new features and have it get rebuilt, like what I would do. So that's what I plan to do, as I said earlier. Restorize said, I just upgraded RAM to 64 gig. Wow. Install Quant 32B model locally because of high prices using AI APIs. Oh, I agree. It's very expensive. Yeah, I might go down that route because it is getting expensive for me. I mean, I can't remember the name of the one NVIDIA rig that they brought out. Was it PCX or something like that? It's about a year ago, 6 months ago, and they still are pushing that. So I'm quite surprised that's still valid. The problem I always thought, as these LMs grow by each version, then you have to upgrade your hardware. And that's what I'm kind of scared of. But when you have 64 gig, is that 64 gig on your GPUs? Or like a new rig with GPU? DS Spark. Yeah, it's exactly it. Thank you, Mr. CNN. Yeah, so that's I mean, I think it was like $5,000 or $6,000 last year. I'm sure it's cheaper now, but if that stays valid, then it's worthwhile. Because I looked into Kimi, and they said if you want to run Kimi locally, Kimi K3, you would have to get 10 Mac, mini Mac, Mac Minis, 10 of them, and network together. Each one's 70,000. Sorry, it'd be a total cost of $70,000 to be able to run it. Yes, DGX Spark official name. Thanks, Mr. CNN. So a Mac Mini would be interesting to do it on, but the high-end Mac Minis are 7K. I think it's 64 on board, and they said that's a good solution. Because I can't remember, it's something to do with NVIDIA, and the silicon on the Mac Minis are better, so there's no delay on it. So all of that's why a lot of people are hoarding Mac Minis, the studio versions. So, but they're not cheap. So Restorai, no internal RAM, 64 gig. My GPU's NVIDIA 3090, 24 gig VRAM. Interesting. I thought that would be 64 gig on the GPU. Yeah, but again, I'm not a hardware guy. That's the problem for me. But one day I may go down that route. But then you have this computer that you buy, and if I'm going to be on the road a lot, my question is, I don't know, do I just stay on the local cloud, or there's new options coming out, so I don't know which way to go. I talked to a guy, and he's running some Amazon solution, a very simple one, not very much money, he was saying. So I'm sure there's some Amazon AWS solutions out there as well. So again, I haven't looked into it. Just local and no GPU. As I said, Vultr should be okay, but my restrictions, I have to stay on Windows because of the Rhythmic Pro. Or that's not true. One thing I should mention for Hardev, there's 3 different APIs when it comes to Rhythmic. There's the .NET, there's the .NET C, which is C# mostly, Python, and then C++. So if you're using C# or C++ for Windows, you have to go through the Rhythmic Pro software. Whereas with Python, it's using protobuf, so you can go directly from within your Python and not need your Rhythmic Pro software. And on top of that, official word, right from Rhythmic support, they will support you on Linux as well. So that's a good option. That's another reason why I would stay on Python, because you could run the Python solution on Linux. So you don't have to have the heavy duty graphics, the graphical user interface with Windows. So that's another doable option as well. So that's one of the reasons I would stay on Python as well, because of that, because of the protobuf. New V says some algorithms platforms well in demo accounts but not on live accounts. Have you had that? How did you get around whatever caused the underperformance? Yeah, so New V, I talked about that with this whole topic I talked about. You have architectural issues, you have data connection issues. So that's why if you go on to my most recent post since Friday on the orderbookedge.com, including my notes on there because it's Substack, you read those, you can see all the types of things it addresses and fixes. So there's the 3 major ones. It says architectural, data connection, and actual bugs themselves, where things choke, the health state, things like that you have to watch for. And that's with real live market data. One thing you don't want to do with AI is use simulated data or synthetic data. It's useless because it's just kind of like guessing, and it's always going to be more optimistic, and it's not very good analysis. You want to use real market data. Historical data's okay, but most of the effort's going to be in your simulation testing with real market data. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm able to see market conditions. I'm able to see patterns when market makers step in. AI, when I have AI look at the logs of the bid and ask spreads on all the big assets, it will tell you all kinds of things that you will not know about. And you can ask the AI to say, how do I improve this on this particular strategy for this particular instrument? And that's what I was talking about earlier, having some kind of monitor that will do that, and then implement code to regenerate a new trading bot that's optimized for the new market condition, or let alone run the news and create a new set of trading bots. So there's all kinds of options there. It's just basically going through what I've been going through since Friday, because that's that's where you find the real gold. The trading strategy is fine, but that's just the start. That's like being at the starting line of a marathon. The real race, or I should, better comparison. In marathon running, your first 30 kilometers is just you're running. The real competition is in the last 12K, 42K. So the last 12K is where you start to learn and improve things. And that's where I'm at now. And it tells you, yeah, you can make a lot of money here. I ask the AI, tell me what is the best trading bot for the day to go with and why, and how do I improve it? So I can do all those kind of things with AI. And again, demo accounts. What I have is I have a real trading account where I can trade off of. I'm doing everything but real live trading right now, so I can improve the bots and see and get a feel of market conditions. And that's where the AI is very good at. And Quant's excellent. Actually, there's a few other models that are much cheaper. I'll give you a hint. I can use Minimax 2.7, which is Chinese as well. I don't think I'm paying for that. I've seen a lot of promotions all the time. If you want a free AI usage, Minimax 2.7. I don't think you get that with Minimax 3, but Minimax 2.7 is pretty good for analyzing books, and it's very good at looking for opportunities there. And I'm not paying anything. I've not seen a cost charge using Minimax 2.7, so you heard it from me. Let's see. Okay, so let me go back to, I think, Nuvi, to answer your question. Have you seen that? Okay, so as I said, have you had, and how did you get around whatever caused the underperformance? If you know how to prompt exactly the logs that the trading bots generate, namely bid and ask, you know how to prompt, it will tell you exactly your underperformance and why. And you can also ask it, how do I improve it? So you can even ask that as a general question, and it will tell you exactly how to improve it. And yeah, you can readjust that within your trading bot as well. It's really powerful. And let the Luddites become poor because they don't want to use this capability. Is the bot, you're saying, driven by market conditions, or does it have any built-in strategies? Hareed, as I said, if you read that description, it'll clearly say you have a trading bot or a trading Python script that can be classified as a bot. That may have a very simple technical analysis trading rule with live order. That's a trading bot. So there's going to be a bunch of trading bots, one for Forex, one for Apple, one for Nvidia, one for another stock. They're all separate bots. And there's just simple, separate technical analysis as trading rules in the trading bot. Now, that's fine for a very simple, primitive trading bot. But as you get more advanced, where the real gold is to really consistently profit, you have to do exactly what I'm saying tonight. You have to let the thing run, download the data, create log data based upon your rules and log that. Then you apply an AI prompting to ask what's happening in the market data, market conditions, and you can also ask it, why is this happening and how do I improve the trading bot to make it more profitable or even quote unquote lucrative? All comes down to prompting. So it is driven by market conditions. I hope that answers your question. Nuvi asks, it's very difficult to replicate FIFO of the order book on anything that's not live data. If you're not using live data, you are wasting your time. You're just like urinating in the wind. It's fine if you're starting out and wanting to learn, fine. But ultimately, you have to simulate real live market data. End of story. There's no argument on that. And if you're not willing to pay for it, don't go into algorithmic trading, because we've had streams before and we've dealt with some of the providers that are very expensive per month that only provide historical market data. You need it real-time data, okay? Because right now the market conditions change, the market regime changes every 10 minutes, all because of the gerbil brain in the US, the president. All comes out with a different thing every day, every 5 minutes, and that's a new market condition that you got to deal with. On top of it, it's market conditions you got to deal with. And as I said, millions of people have already given up on trading because of it. So what you're saying is very true, unfortunately. Hardy, can you let me know the best market data provider for futures? I keep saying it, Rhythmic and Rhythmic only. It's affordable, it's very good data, and it's affordable. Okay, that's it. I mean, you can use other providers that might be as good. I think CME has something going on, but I think you got to be a real institution to do it. Whereas if you're retail and want to keep your costs down, go with Rhythmic with a legitimate introductory broker that will interface you into Rhythmic. If you got any more questions, let me know. I've had one thing that got me was a short. Guy was complaining about, I didn't explain this, I'll explain that, and basically wanting to learn how to build an end-to-end trading system within a 2-minute short. Like this is like where we're at now. Self-entitlement's off the hook. So it doesn't work that way. I think to get competent in algo trading, you have to have dedicated amount of months. But when you have upward momentum forever, that's too easy. Where we're at now, that's what makes real men in trading. These market conditions now. The hardest market is the markets that go range bound. And I really believe we will go into range bound markets for the next few years, unfortunately. Hardy V asks, can you let me know? Okay, we already covered that. You are very good, sir. Thank you. Nuvi, I that comment put him right. I saw that comment, put him right. I can't really, I have to be Happy Days on YouTube. I'd like to be the real person but I can't on YouTube. It has to be Happy Days, happy milk and cookie stuff. So anything that's really negative, I just ignore it. That's all I can do. But majority of people are good and they appreciate what's happening. But there's just some people that I don't know. I just will say they're not happy people. They're just angry at the world. Anybody else got any questions? So if you want to, as I keep saying, if you're new to algo trading, I just always recommend the hftcode.com, those little data sets with the interactive brokers and Claude code. That puts everything right. Maybe one day I might do the equivalent of how to do it in Quant. The problem is that AI models come and go every 2 minutes. So the most popular one right now, and has been and always will be, I think, for a while, is Claude. And if Claude is expensive, you could still kind of use Claude Haiku 4.5, the way the setup is. And it's affordable. Yes, restore OFI. Restore I. They're looking for get rich quick strategies, which don't exist. No, they don't. And if they buy them, they're going to get hosed. They're going to get scammed. Hardy, is IBKR market data good or any lag compared to Rhythmic? If you're starting out with interactive brokers, I would just go with them. If you're doing stock and ETFs, equity, Rhythmic's fine. Or sorry, IBKR is fine. If you want futures, clean, fast-moving data, go with Rhythmic. And that's for futures and options on the CME or the ICE or other international exchanges. But as I said before, you want to go where the volume is, and that's the big ones. Volume, liquidity matters. I've been testing it for the last almost a week, and they're basically NASDAQ, S&P 500, which is the ES, CL, which is oil. Treasury, I'm quite surprised there's trading opportunity there. There's also Bitcoin, gold, oil, I've already said, sometimes natural gas, and I was quite surprised with some of the agricultural stuff. Hardy, as I said, the link is simple. As go to the bottom, you'll see the hftcode.com links. That will take you to one of the products. I've got 3 websites. The only other website that I would probably recommend right now is the orderbook.com. Is that right? Anybody else got any questions? Oh, Hardy, look at Bryan's site. Trust me, it's a great place to start. Thank you, Nuvi. I missed that. Yeah, because I try to engage with people and as much as I can. But you're going to get the kind of people that I get to deal with all the time, which is fine. And the doom scrollers as well. So there's no such thing as a quick, rich scheme out there. And even if it was, I wouldn't be promoting it because that will come and bite you in the end. Anybody else got any questions? Restore, do you look into math random techniques for trade? Man, I forgot to do that. I had written it down, but math random. That's Python, right? Is that what you're saying? I think it was. Here, let me get a pen. All this stuff you guys recommend, it's hard for me to keep on top of. Math random. I know about random, but a lot of my data is data driven by the markets themselves with the bid and ask and news. You have a long to-do list from last week. Oh yeah, I'm sure. But if I showed you what's going on right now, 15 bots. Well, now it's 20 plus bots a day. I'm just trying to find an efficient way to manage them. It's crazy. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Yeah, it's available in most languages, Python, C++, C. Okay, I'll take a look. Just so you know, one trick I also, when it comes to coding, I try to use as little of dependencies as possible because the code will run faster. What I do is I'll force the prompt, the AI, to generate the algorithm with no dependencies in it. The reason for that is it becomes more efficient, where if you're loading in all these libraries, this is now C++ I'm talking about, it just bloats the code. So the less dependencies you have, the better, and more efficient as well, as you can imagine. But we're not with C++ right now. I don't know when that'll happen, but I'm still burnt from that last experiment. Very expensive. Yeah. Also lowers the file size. One thing I can mention here is when I did in November 2 years ago, The HFT stuff, real HFT and C++, you don't want your bin file to be not very big, very efficient, especially when you put it up on the CME Aurora for the HFT stuff. That little file can make you a lot of money, but the smaller the executable or the bin file, the better, the binary file. And if you, I mean, most people in HFT will be working with Linux. So there's that. Nuvi says 0NMX runtime and number also speed up Python code. Yeah, it does. But right now I'm not coming across any real challenges in terms of performance. The only performance I'm finding is if I have too many bots running, requesting too much. But I have tested it successfully with about 8 bots, not more. And on the other hand, my trading account can really, at this point, probably handle no more than 2 strategies at once. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like I said earlier, that I'm building a mechanism that will recommend the fewest bots possible that will also showcase the highest profit potential, and that's using my news, primarily the positioning on the orders, on what the big firms are doing, plus the market preview as well. But usually the market preview I'm finding is not very useful right now. So I think if you're running 2-3 bots, as the architecture I said, you should be fine. You shouldn't have any performance issues. But if you start to increase the number of bots running simultaneously, then yeah, you could most likely hit some kind of performance problem. But I think probably 3 at the is your max you'll be running simultaneously. One other thing I should mention that's very important that I learned last night actually. I had like a generation 1 and a generation 2 bot on the same instrument. So it was CL oil, and basically I had communication problems. So as a tip, what it said was if you're running 2 separate bots on the same instrument, you will have queuing problems because all your P&L and all your signaling, I thought all the data wouldn't matter, but it runs into all kinds of problems on the signaling. So essentially you can only run one symbol at once. So let's say you cannot run 2 trading strategy bots at the same time for one particular instrument. If you're going to do that, you could do the full contract, and then maybe you could do the micro. Maybe you could also do the mini if it exists, and you can also do it with the new nano as well. So there's different options there. Just wanted to put that in there, and that's going to be part of my prompting when these trading bots get launched at market open or whatever. Yeah, so restore li in Linux, it's an sh file. No, that sh file is a shell script. What I'm talking about is a binary file. So it's a C++ file that's obviously compiled and linked together, and it's just like an equivalent of an exe. When you're saying an sh, that would be like a PowerShell script or a batch file with sh files. So they're totally different. I'm talking about a binary file. And pretty well the only language that builds binary files in Linux is going to be C or C++ using GCC or G++ compiler. I can't say with the newer languages how they do it, if they build up binary files like Rust or something else, but everything else is just like Python's its own script, right? Because it's interpreted language, where these C++ are interpreted languages. And usually with Java, it's still a kind of binary file, but you still need the Java executable to run the binary file in Java, if that makes sense. But Java what? I used to use Java, it was quite good. But there's not a lot of Java out there anymore. It's C++ and Python, especially when it comes to, as you know, a lot of the firms for research, Python is kind of the standard, and when the production live training is going to be done in C++. And as I said before, a few weeks ago, I got the capability to be able to take a Python trading bot and then be able to transpile it or convert it into C++. Pretty impressive. And it was self-contained as well, and I could run it. No errors. I got it to a point where it built it with no errors, which was, wow, really impressive. So to be able to convert stuff on the fly dynamically, like a Python script or a C++ or C executable, that's pretty powerful. Anybody else got any questions or comments? JavaScript is very dependency based, which I don't really like. No, I mean, I only use JavaScript for with HTML is the front end, and I've built some very like I haven't shown you the full capabilities of the dashboard, which is built with JavaScript as the front end. It's quite key. It's very, very powerful. I'm just going to load up my JavaScript, see how many JavaScript files I've got in this build here, because I use it as a dashboard. I think any trading system should use JavaScript for the front end. It's very light. Python, you can do some very capable things with some of the frameworks out there, but I still think JavaScript or TypeScript's the better way, especially for charting as well. I'm just looking for it. I've got a huge, yeah, can't, yeah, hang on here. I can tell you how many, yeah, so I have one HTML file, JavaScript files, I don't know how many I have, but the AI is very good at maintaining it. The two languages I think that are the best to work with for AI is Python and JavaScript, without a doubt. But you know, it's getting better with all the other languages. Like C#'s pretty good. C++, it can do. The problem is like building out all those multiple header files and C++ files, and if you use a different LLM, it will use a different coding style in C++. It just gets ugly really fast, especially as it grows. Then you get a lot of this extra, what do they call it, debt code, or I can't remember the term for it, but it becomes just useless code. And that's what confuses the LLMs. When you use C++, is you have a fast-growing C++ project. So, anybody else got any questions or comments? So we're coming up to almost 2 hours, which is pretty impressive again. You guys got any other questions? Hopefully I've helped out, what's his name, Hardy Divvy. So anybody else got any questions? I mean, I've been going for 2 hours, which is fine, which is all fine. So I'll be back next Tuesday. I'm not sure if that, I think I'll have another Tuesday on top of that. And then nothing in September. And then I'll resume come second week of October. I'll try to do some live streams. I'll have some downtime while I'm in Switzerland. Let me see here. Actually, no. We'll have two more streams. So I have the 25th and September 1st, because I leave on the 4th. Gone for a month, and I'm gone for exactly 1 month, October 4th, coming back. So you guys got questions or comments or anything? If not, I'll give it a closing for tonight, or maybe for the day, for wherever you are. We've had people in Europe overnight, and last week Africa as well. Any questions or comments? I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times. If you have a question, type them up now, please. Okay, so I'll do it going once. Going twice. Oh, Switzerland's a great, beautiful place. Yes, thank you. I've been there 2 years ago. Yeah, I won't be, well, I'll be going into Central Europe, Switzerland, because I did a whole tour of Switzerland 2 years ago. 2 a.m. here. Good night, Nuvi. Yeah, you're in UK. You're pretty hardcore support, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's all good. But if I do anything like the last minute stream in September, it'll be last minute. I'll try to keep to my Tuesday nights, but I don't know if it'll be Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time. Might be like like in Europe time sometimes, so it could be kind of wonky for other people. But if you're in Europe, it'll be good if you show up. Anybody got questions or comments? Going once. If you got questions or comments, just please type them up now. Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. I guess we're done. Thank you very much. I'll just put it in summary. Please do check out my latest notes. If you're a member already on the order book, the orderbookedge.com, all the latest stuff I posted about all this post-mortem stuff is there. You'll see what I mean when you analyze what the AI can do and what it can reveal. And I'm hoping to build out some of this AI stuff built on top of the running trading live bots to monitor performance on the bots, the health of the bots, and namely the market conditions, and looking for trading conditions for those bots. So don't know what will happen, but knowing in Python, chances are it can do okay. We'll see. It's all experimentation as it stands right now. Okay, I guess we're done. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourselves a good day and all that fun stuff wherever you are. Bye-bye.